on, ready for his bear hunt. Ooh. Little more. Oh my. First spring bear hunt in how many years?
15 years since I've been spring bear hunting, and we're here at Nez Perce National Forest. I've got my sleeve cut off and I'm about ready to ascend this mountain after a big old bear. Night of a spring bear hunt here in the Nez Perce National Forest. Hiking in, you can tell I'm already out of breath. Everything out here is either straight up or straight down. We've still got quite a ways to go, maybe a half-mile hike into where we're going to sit for the night. Tonight we'll be hunting with a recurve bow right here. All right, let's get in there and get set up. It's about, I don't know, maybe about 2:30 in the afternoon. It doesn't get dark until about 8:30, so we've got quite a while. This flatlander boy, not used to these big steep Idaho mountains. Make you huff and puff. Alright, here we are, and at the bear hunting site. We're using a little bit of bait tonight. It's legal here in Idaho, and we just use a small amount of dog food mixed with some cooking oil. Got myself set up on a stool here with my recurve bow, and it's about probably almost 3:30. It doesn't get dark until about 8:30, so we've got 5 hours to sit here, or hopefully not that long if a bear comes in. Our bait is right over here, about 12 yards away, tucked in those logs right here. It's so inconspicuous you really can't see it, but the bears can smell it, and that's what counts. Bear meat is great eating, and we'd love to put one in the freezer tonight. All right, we're mixing up some bear bait to reset our baits that we have around here. It's a pretty simple mixture. It's just some dog food mixed with some old cooking oil. Baiting is legal here in Idaho, and some people use these big barrels full of stale donuts and that sort of thing. And we don't really like that because it's sort of unsightly, and I don't know, it's just not a good idea. This is a much gentler way, so to speak, to bait. Just a little bit of dog food and some cooking oil brings the bears in, and you can get it close enough for a shot with additional butter. Rex here is our mixing man. He's filling things up. He's putting the dog food in, and then he's going to add some grease on top there. He's getting it just right. He wants it to be perfect.
Why do you hunt over bait?
Well, bears are very difficult to pattern, unlike deer, so they're roaming all through these big woods, and it's not the kind of place where you can spot and stalk. So you can, in some places in the West, you can see a long distance and you can see a bear feeding on the hillside and you can stalk to it. You can't do that here, and you can't pattern the bear. It also plays into a bear's ecology because bears tend to feed on things like dead deer, and so they're used to coming back to a site time after time. They also might feed on a blueberry patch or some other kind of berry that comes into season and then goes out of season. So it's typical of their sort of boom and bust ecology to come to some place, eat, and gorge themselves for a while until that food is gone, and then move on to the next place. So baiting fits right in with the way they typically forage.
Do you think it's ethical to hunt over bait?
I do think it's ethical to hunt bears over bait in a place like this where you can't hunt them in any other way, and where they'd be overpopulated if you didn't. I don't like the big barrels full of stale donuts because I think they create a lot of sort of artificial stuff out in the woods that looks bad it's probably bad for the bears because they're eating way too much human food. In this case, we aren't feeding bears, we're just attracting them temporarily to a spot to set up to make a good shot on them. It's probably enough of that then. Chop that up in there, perfect.
Wouldn't you agree that bears are too cute to shoot?
I don't know about bears being too cute to shoot, but what I think a lot of people don't understand is that bears are very good to eat. People think that we only eat things like elk and deer, but bear is actually quite good. It has to be cooked all the way, but it's great. We wouldn't be here hunting bears if we couldn't eat them. We don't hunt things we can't eat. And so being here to get a bear and put it in our freezer is important for us because we hunt to eat. Oh, rats, that looks good enough to eat.
There, there's your mistress too.
I haven't had breakfast yet.
There it is. Kind of looks like kidney beans and peanut butter.
Lift it up. Good work.
There's your bear bait.
All right.
I bent the lid. The lid was not bent like that.
I don't think it was either.
So we just finished checking our bear bait. It was hit, and looked like a pretty big bear came in because it bent the lid of our bucket.
It's about 3:30 in the afternoon. It's been raining almost all day. The rain just stopped. The sun's coming out. It's actually starting to get pretty warm. It's probably up to about 65 degrees. We're going to hunt a new spot this afternoon and see if we can get eyes on a bear. We've got a not a terribly long walk, but it's through some pretty thick stuff, through spruce and fir, down into this little dip and then up onto a ridge over here. So I'll take you along for a little bit of the ride and then I'll shut the camera off. All right, we're heading out to freshen a bait. We've got one way up on a ridge top. I got my best helper with me right here.
Oh, yeah?
And we're ready to rock and roll. We got to get through this gate first though. Checking a bear bait's a little bit like Christmas morning. You never know what you're gonna get when you get there. Always exciting to see if it's been hit. We're here checking our first bait of the morning. This is a set that I hunted last night, and I didn't see any bears, but I did see a nice bull elk, a cow elk, and 2 whitetails in here. I'll tell you a little bit about our baiting system once we get in here. Rex is behind the camera, and he's going to follow us on in. Here we go. All right, we're just coming on up on the bait. It's right over here, and I can see it's been hit already. So let's walk over here and see what happened. Something knocked the lid off and ate just a little bit. We don't know what it was. Most likely a bear, but it didn't eat everything. So we're going to replenish this. We've got these bait sites set up to hunt with traditional bows, so the shots are very close. So this is the bait. And right over there by that log where you see some of those branches sticking up, this is where you sit to hunt this. Driver here. He's doing all right.
Jeez, 7 miles per hour is not fast.
Our camp is pretty close to the old Nome mining site, which was run in the early 1930s. They were mining for gold here. And here's the old mining buildings and cabins where the miners stayed and worked out of.
So we almost fell off the 4-wheeler. Whole thing almost flipped over. But we're okay, we got out. So I'm walking up through the burn here looking for morels, or type of mushroom. See them in our last video that we posted. Went hunting for them and did like a forage and cook.
Woo, rough terrain, but we're making it. A long way to go.
So this path right here, the 4-wheeler track, is not looking very good. You can see ahead of us, it's real steep and rocky. We're up here at our next bear bait spot. It's not looking very good because this road is really ruddy. A lot of hills and bumps. But I mean, look at that view. Amazing.
Better for you, huh?
Oh yeah, I can get good footage and I'm more comfortable. I can
several miles back into the timber. Rex and I got into more adventure than we hoped to get back in here, but we found that our bait has been hit. So we're going to head back on out of here. We've got a pretty long walk and then a very long four-wheeler ride to get back to the main road. As we go, we're going to squirt some of this good stuff on the trees on the way out to sort of cover our own scent and make further attractant for the bears.
I feel like I'm gonna fall just walking.
Heading into bear hunt this evening. We've been here in Idaho about 10 days and we've been battling rain and storms and even hail, just like we're getting this afternoon. Gotta love it. Not worth it if you don't put in a little effort and a little suffering. Well, we've been here in Idaho for about 10 days spring bear hunting. It's been an amazing trip. We've been trout fishing, we've caught cutthroats, rainbows. We've been looking for morel mushrooms on some of the burns here and have a nice little supply of those now. I've only seen one bear so far. Been at it pretty hard, but as you can tell, the weather has been making things difficult. Pretty much every afternoon we get bad thunderstorms and rain, and even occasionally some hail, small hail, but hail nonetheless. You can see some nice little ice pellets there. So I'm just on my way in now and decided to stop and get in the dry for a few minutes so I'm not soaked for my hunt this evening. It's been raining so much here that I've just taken to bringing a Ziploc bag and some rubber bands with me. Arrows don't fly well with wet feathers, especially when they have a broadhead on the other end trying to do most of the steering. So I just take a Ziploc bag like this and just slide it right over, and then take a couple of rubber bands and go on top of that. And that keeps your feathers nice and dry, keeps your arrows flying straight and true. hunting bears here in Idaho for about 3 weeks now, and I just haven't had any luck. It must be about 5 o'clock, and a big black bear came in and almost ran over me. And then a cinnamon-colored bear came in. Beautiful bear. It's a little rubbed out, but I think I just made a really good shot on him. Took forever, he just would not come broadside to give me a shot. But I think I did it. Oh my goodness. I know it seems weird when guys hunt and they huff and puff and shake. Talk about some adrenaline. 2 bears in 10 minutes, probably less than that, 5 minutes, just about on top of me. I'm gonna sit here for a little while and see what happens, but I think that shot was right on the money. I've been here in Idaho for about 20 days hunting bears, and this has been really tough. Weather's been horrible. I just haven't been seeing bears. I shot one about a half an hour ago. I've been tracking it, and I can see him laying right up here. Didn't go far at all. I think it was a great hit. Let's go see what we've got up here. I know it's not a huge bear, but after 20 days, any bear looked good to me. It's a beautiful color. Really nice cinnamon-phased Idaho bear. Thank you, bear. Thank you. We hunt to eat, and this bear is perfect size for eating. It's going to be great meals for our family. Oh, we so love to pursue these animals, and we appreciate them so much. It's always a mix of emotions when you have to see something die by your own hand, but taking responsibility for your own food is pretty important. What a day. We've been here in the Nez Perce Clearwater National Forest in Idaho hunting spring bears for the last 20 days. The weather's been terrible, heavy rain pretty much every day. Yesterday was the 19th of June, and we had 35 degrees and snow. This afternoon it pretty much rained off and on all day. That's the bad news. The good news is tonight I had 2 bears come in. Big, beautiful black bear came in all the way up to probably 4 or 5 yards from me. I mean, within 10 feet, I've got this big black bear standing there staring at me, going like this with his nose. And I think he finally got a whiff of me, and he didn't like it, and turned and ran. And my heart sank. I thought, oh no, that's it. Working at this so hard, and there was my one chance, and it just went up in smoke. And not 2 minutes later, I look, and here comes this little cinnamon-colored bear. Not a huge bear, but hey, we hunt to eat. It's going to provide great table fare and a lot of meals for our family. It's a beautiful bear, beautiful cinnamon color, sort of black on the head, dark chocolate brown on the legs. A really neat bear, and I am so happy to have it and so grateful that this bear was willing to exchange its life to provide a little bit of energy for our family. It's energy in, energy out. And, we just love this stuff. We love living wild like we do, traveling, and getting your own food, being responsible for taking your own food is so important to us and so meaningful. Somebody's hands get dirty no matter what you're eating. And we feel it's our responsibility for our hands to be the ones that get dirty. So it's been a great day. I'm bushed. I finally got everything packed out to the road. I need to go get the truck and get everything loaded up. And then I can't wait to get back to the camper to see Debbie, Rex, and Leela and tell them I got a bear. I've been bear hunting so much, 20 days, hunting almost every day. It's kept us from really adventuring, and they've been so gracious, so patient with me, but I know they want to explore more. We've got some more trout fishing to do. We've got some more ghost towns to explore. So it's been a great day. I'm pulling back in right now into our little RV place, and the kids are already coming out. And Rex has got a look on his face like, what did Dad do? Because I brought a bear home. Where'd they go? Where'd they go?
You got one! You got one! You got one! Yay! Congratulations!
The mighty hunter returns. Look at those bloody hands. Well,
I guess they're happy about it. So a few days ago, I was fortunate enough to take a beautiful cinnamon-colored bear with my recurve bow, and we processed it right here at our camper. I've kept a couple of cuts out and kept them unfrozen. This one's been aging in the refrigerator for a few days now, about 3 days, and we're gonna get a bear roast together for dinner tonight. First thing I'm gonna do with this roast is just put a little bit of olive oil on it. And then we're gonna rub some salt and pepper into this thing, and we'll brown it in this cast iron skillet that I have underneath here. You want to treat bear meat basically like chicken. It needs to be cooked well because bear can carry parasites which you don't want to pass on. So bear meat is great to make ground meat, to do things like tacos or meatloaf or whatever, carnitas. You can also make a roast because roasts tend to be well done. And so we're going to do a roast here. We've got some black pepper. We're just going to sprinkle some of that on there. A little bit of salt. Okay. Now get that all in there. We're going to flip this over and do the same on the other side. We're going to sit this aside for just a minute until we get our pan heated up with this cast iron skillet underneath here. We're going to heat this skillet up and we're going to brown that roast on all sides before it goes in the slow cooker. We've got it up on high. We want to get this pan good and hot before we throw that roast in there to brown it. Browning it is just going to bring out the flavor. We really don't want to cook it that way. We just want to give it some of that good, sort of somewhat charred, meaty flavor that's going to build layers of flavor once we throw it in the slow roaster. Got to let this get good and hot. We want this olive oil to be shimmering in here. It's so warm. This is a spring bear, so it has some fat, but it's not super fatty like it would be if you shot a bear in the fall. So we're going to add plenty of olive oil here. If this was a fall bear and it had big heaping layers of fat on it, we wouldn't have to add much fat. But because it's spring and it's a little bit lean, we're going to add some olive oil here. You can see some marbling and some fat there, but not a ton. And I did remove a little bit of the fat from some of the cuts. All right, our cast iron skillet is good and hot. You can see that olive oil in there shimmering. So we're gonna go ahead and add our bear roast and brown it on all sides. Lay that right in there. Probably hear that sizzle. I'm battling the breeze out here a little bit. I don't know if any of you have ever cooked in a camper or a small space like an apartment kitchen, but cooking inside when you're traveling full-time can be challenging. I would go crazy without this outdoor kitchen. I just love to cook out here, but wind can be a challenge. Sometimes I have to put up these flaps and put all sorts of wind blockers up, but today's not too bad. I think we're in good shape. So we're going to let this sit in the pan and brown real good, and then we're going to move it to the slow cooker with some other braising liquid. Yeah, big old clove of garlic. Oh, yeah. Nice and brown on that side. And we'll get this other side browned up. Build those flavors before it goes in the slow cooker. Alright, we've got our bear roast browned on all sides now, and we're going to transfer it to the slow cooker with some braising liquid. So unfortunately, I lost battery power in the middle of this production. Another motorcycle. So unfortunately, I lost battery power in the middle of this production. So I'll recap our braising liquid. We had about 3 to 5 tablespoons of tomato paste, 1 cup of beer. Normally we would use red wine, but we don't have any red wine, so beer is the next best thing, I suppose. 1 cup of beef stock. You can use game stock as well. If you have it, it'd be great. Balsamic vinegar, about 4 to 5 tablespoons, really helps to break down the meat and tenderize it. A good palmful of dried thyme. And we're going to go with about half that much of rosemary. Just, you know, something like that. And I like to crush it up to get the flavors out. Get that in there. Well, we're going to add some fresh garlic, but we're also going to put in some granulated garlic, because I find that in a braising liquid that really helps to get into the meat. So, you know, something like that. Drop that right in there. A little more black pepper. A little bit of salt. More garlic. This a little swish around. Smells great. And now we're going to take the bear roast that we browned earlier, which I've got right here, and we're going to add that right into the cooker, into that braising liquid. Some of these juices, the pan juices, and I'm just going to pour that right over the top. Get some of that good built-up flavor in there. All right, there it is. Now all we need to do is plug it in, turn it on, and probably 5-6 hours later, we're going to have a fantastic bear roast. All right, Debbie always says I get awkward at this point. I guess I do. All right, our bear roast has been in for about 6 hours. I'm about ready to pull it out of the slow cooker, and it's looking great, and it smells even better. Can't wait to dig into it. You can see it's still boiling there a little bit. See a little flecks of garlic in there, and how nice and rich the sauce has gotten. I've already dipped some of that braising liquid out and mixed it with some beef stock and some flour and butter in a roux to make a nice gravy. And now we're going to slice this up, and we're going to have it with mashed potatoes and some fresh asparagus. Well, it's been a long day of cooking, but here we have it. We've got bear roast, mashed potatoes, and fresh asparagus. I hope the kids like it. Oh my gosh, I already tasted a little bit, and it's so good. The meat is so tender. The gravy that we made from the drippings from the slow cooker is really rich and flavorful. What do you think?
What to expect? Shoot, shoot. Do it, do it. Shoot, shoot. I want to expect.
Dad's going in on the bear. Let's see. How is it?
Not my first bite, but about my 5th, and oh my gosh, it's good.
All right, there you have it.
Tender, flavorful.
Get that. Well, that's too fast.
A bear a few days ago, so I'm not too worried about bears coming into this bait anymore. So I thought I'd show you what a bait site looks like. Normally we don't talk when we come into these things. We work under strict silence, but since we've already gotten a bear, we can talk a little bit. So this is a typical bait site. It's just an old metal bucket with some dog food in it. And the bears become accustomed to that, and they like to come in to eat, usually in late afternoon or evening. That's a bit of the problem, is that to get a shot you often have to sit here right until dark, and often they don't come in until after dark, so you're not able to get a shot at all. So this is the bait site right here, and then if we go over here, I've measured the distance on this one. Just 13 yards away, right here, is the ground blind. So I built this ground blind about 3 weeks ago when we first got here. It'd sit right back here in a little three-legged stool. This would be your perspective of the bait if a bear came in from sitting inside this ground blind. And the ground blind is just a, we've got a fallen log here, and I've taken some fir boughs there, and I've actually taken these small trees, these were cut-offs, and I pushed them into the ground to create a backdrop. Lots of folks think that you need a lot of front cover like this up here to shield you from an animal seeing you. And while that's true, you do need some front cover. Having back cover, which breaks up your silhouette, is just as important, and perhaps even more important than having cover in front, especially when you're so close to an animal like this. You're less than 15 yards.